Ricky Carmichael to the checkered flag. 5 Daytona Supercross wins.
He is Carmichael's protege, maybe the fastest man ever to straddle a Supercross bike. James Stewart has led this year's championship from the start, but Daytona remains unfinished business. Last year, he won his heat, then took on the same 2 rivals he must face tonight. They've combined to win the last 7 Daytonas. Carmichael making his last start here, and past series champ Chad Reed. And we all remember what happened to Stewart's hopes last year.
Stewart is down and not rushing back to the motorcycle.
Welcome to the 37th Daytona Supercross. It's next on Speed. Speed's 3-day coverage of Daytona Bike Week continues with the 37th Daytona Supercross by Honda about to rip up the tri-oval here at Daytona International Speedway. It is a gnarly layout, one of Bike Week's most spectacular attractions. High-flying motorcycles piloted by some of motor racing's bravest and most physically fit athletes. And these guys, like so many others, know that Daytona is a huge race to win. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain. Pleased to welcome you back. I'm a little jealous of those who have seen every Daytona Supercross. I missed the first one. But in 35 years since, I've watched this event grow, seen all the great riders, American and international, come here to try to win. And I think tonight shapes up as a potential classic. You've got 3 guys, great stars, coming here, each with a lot of motivation, one with very special motivation, and 2 having recently demonstrated that they just can't play nice together. Could be good stuff. Here to call it, high above the stadium, we have the voice of motorcycle racing on Speed, Ralph Sheheen, and the former Daytona Supercross winner, past Supercross champion, Jeff Emig. Guys, have at it.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friday night at Bike Week. Of course, that means Supercross. And my colleague, as Dave mentioned, Jeff Emig, won this very prestigious event back in 1997. And Jeff, can you put into words for those of us that'll never do it, what it's like to win this big event?
Well, it is a huge event, and I've got my name on the plaque over in the Daytona Museum, and just being Bike Week and AMA Road Racing being here, all of the competitors want to put on their best show. And this track is by far the most grueling track that we have. It's physical. You have to be strong. There is sand, there's bumps, there's ruts, and there's also Supercross obstacles that are very, very technical. So it makes for a pretty challenging Supercross event.
Well, Ricky Carmichael is called the greatest of all time, the GOAT. And one of those reasons is because he has 15 championships. Another is because he's won the Daytona Supercross 5 times. Now, earlier today, our Aaron Bates sat down with the GOAT to talk about Daytona.
Well, here we are kicking it back in the factory Makita Suzuki rig with Ricky Carmichael, who has won here 5 times at Daytona. But Ricky, this is the second to last race for you. Only 8 days left before your retirement. What does it mean coming in and taking a win here at Daytona?
This is a very special race, not just because it's the second to last race, but it's Daytona. It's our Daytona 500. All the big wigs from Japan are here, from Suzuki, and all the sponsors come, and it's just special. And for me, winning 5 times here, that makes it even more special. And I love this place. It's in Florida and in front of my hometown crowd. Very excited.
Now, do you approach this race differently than any other race?
You know, you have to. The track's a lot different than any of the Supercross tracks that we race on, and it's a tough track. It's very rough, and you need to be strong. So, you know, I'm just pumped to be here. Everything is working very good. The track is very good, and I'm glad to be in front of a bunch of Florida fans.
Now, a lot of tension is brewing right now between your 2 top competitors, James Stewart and Chad Reed, obviously. Is this something that's going to work to your advantage?
You know, I don't know if it's going to work to my advantage. I'd like to just go out there and try to win straight up and not have nothing going on, you know. But there's a lot of tension between those two guys, and I think the first guy to throw it aside is going to be the first guy to prevail. You know, if they let him bother him, it's going to be tough for him, and it's a long 10 more races. So I'm going to use anything I can to my advantage. And at the same time, you know, I want to go out there and do my own thing. I'm not out there to mess with anybody, and never have been. I go out there and worry about myself, and whatever happens with those two guys.
Well, he's not racing for the championship, but he is looking forward to taking 2 wins out of his last 4 races, hoping to make that second one here in Daytona.
Well, Ricky hopes this is not his last race at Daytona. He's getting set to pursue his stock car career and maybe someday be in the starting field for the Daytona 500. Jeff, what are some of the keys for Ricky to possibly winning his 6th Supercross here at Daytona?
Well, I think one of the most important things is the whole shot that main event. If he does that, the fans are going to be on his side. And he needs to feed off that and let the energy of the fans, because this is the last time they're going to see Carmichael here on a motorcycle. So feed off the emotions of the race, try to win this last Daytona Supercross of his career.
Ricky is the reigning Amped Mobile AMA Supercross Series champion. He is not running the entire series, so he will not be defending his title. But let's show you the current point standings as we roll into Daytona. James Stewart, who is the reigning Amped Mobile World Supercross GP champion, does lead those points in the AMA Series, a championship he's never won, and this race only counts towards the AMA Series, not the world point standings as well. Chad Reed sits in second. He's 19 markers back. But James Stewart on top of the points, looking to win that first ever AMA title. Earlier today, Aaron Bates sat down with James as well.
James, coming into Daytona, you have the points lead. How important is it to win this race, not only for the championship, but to beat Carmichael in front of your hometown crowd?
For me, you know, it's important to win, you know, every race, but, you know, try to win as many races as I can. But, you know, this race, you know, I got to be careful. You know, I don't want to jeopardize anything I don't build all year long for. It's the races I don't won and the points leagues I don't had. And I just want to get out of here safe. You know, we're struggling with setup today. We're a little bit off on practice, and you know, whatever happens, it just happens. But I don't want to lose too many points and jeopardize what I work for.
James, last year you had a horrific crash here. A mistake like that again could have serious implications on your title hopes. Have you thought about that incident, and will it have any effect on your racing tonight?
No, I don't think as far as that what happened last year, and you know, it's not gonna make me ride any different or not. You know, I just think last year, you know, it's just an accident, and this year I'm just focusing on what I got to do. And you know, last year was in the past, so hopefully nothing happened too scary.
Well, Jeff, what are the keys for James Stewart to end on the top step of the podium here tonight?
Well, I think he's going to have to get a good start and stay out of trouble. The track is going to be nasty tonight. A lot of ruts. A lot of guys going to be making mistakes here and there, so he needs to get out clean. Second one is just to be patient and ride smart. Now, you know, then that takes us to our last one, and that's keep it on 2 wheels. James Stewart has shown that he's the fastest guy, and really the only time he doesn't win is when he crashes.
The third man in this storyline of the possible winners here tonight is, of course, Chad Reed. And the Australian came here last year with a badly beaten shoulder, and he gutted out a second-place finish. Earlier today, once again, our Aaron Bates sat down with Chad Reed.
All right, Chad, last year you came into Daytona hurt but managed to pull off a second place. How confident are you that you can win tonight and put some more pressure on Stewart?
You know, I'm confident just like every other weekend. You know, I just got to bring my A game and be the best I can be on that weekend. I feel that, you know, I have what it takes to win, you know, every weekend, but I just have been struggling to bring it to the race. And, you know, just excited. You know, I really have a special place in me to go harder here in Daytona, and I'm looking forward to trying to have a good battle, you know, take it back to 05 when I raced with Ricky. You know, that was an awesome battle and a good feeling to come out on top like that.
Chad, you had said last weekend that you're not going to go out in the track and get pushed around anymore. Do you have the same game plan if things start getting a little bit physical out there tonight, and will we be seeing some more aggressive racing?
I mean, for sure, you know, just, you know, week after week, I feel that, you know, whenever I'm passed, and that's my own fault, but, you know, it can never be just a clean pass. You know, it's always like he's got to bump into me, and we're done with that. You know, we're going to bump back, and you know, like I said, the main thing is for me to bring my A game and be the best that I can be. And I think if we do that, we're in good shape to win. So, you know, today has been going great. You know, I had a fall in practice and I got a little bit of a bruise on my head, but you know, who knows? Maybe that's what I needed. Thanks.
Jeff, nobody really needs to win here more than Chad Reed because he needs that victory and those points to keep him alive in the championship chase. So what does he have to accomplish here tonight to get those points?
Well, I think the keys for Chad Reed is to keep getting these great starts that he's been getting all season, but more so than anything is to free his mind of all this clutter, all this stuff that's been going on, the bump and the fall and the crash. And right now, you know, he needs to dig deep as he's done before here in the past and believe in himself because he's had some huge upsets here and he could do it again tonight.
What's really interesting is if you take a look at the difference in the points between last year and this year coming into Daytona. Take a look at this graphic. As we came to Daytona last year, Chad Reed was a points leader by 191 points to Ricky Carmichael's 190. Well, Reed has 191 points again this year, but he's second in the points, 19 behind James Stewart. The biggest difference? No Ricky Carmichael at every round to eat up some of those other points. So now the big thing to do, Dave Despain, get them all lined up in the gate. We're done talking about them. Let's drop that first gate on the heat races and get to it.
It is going to be a terrific night here at Daytona, and tomorrow we cap it all with the 66th running of the Daytona 200. Be sure and be here. Miguel Duhamel could make a bit of Daytona history of his own, trying to become the most successful Daytona 200 rider ever, looking for win number 6. It's AMA Formula Extreme tomorrow, 1:30 Eastern Time, live on Speed. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Class, there was also a very important championship for the rising stars of the sport, which will battle here this evening. That championship is Supercross Lights. Let's learn more about it from the boys in the booth.
The Amped Mobile AMA Supercross Lights East Coast Series got underway just 2 races ago, and coming into it, we expected a whole bunch of riders to be really good. The ones we were looking for to be at the top of the standings aren't there. The riders that we didn't expect to see there are, however. It's been a very interesting season so far. Ryan Morris and Matt Gerke tied atop the standings, and Darcy Lange, who won an Arena Cross championship earlier this year, sits right behind him in 3rd. Now, earlier today, our Aaron Bates sat down with the 2 riders tied atop the standings.
Well, here we are under the Yamaha Troy tent, and I am with the 2 tied top lead contenders in the East Coast Light Series, Ryan Morris and Matt Gerke. Both of these gentlemen found their way to the podium last weekend, and Ryan, that was a first for you.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome to finally get up there. I mean, that's been a lifelong dream for me, and just been working really hard at home with my trainer and just putting in the effort.
You've been putting in a ton of effort this year. It's obviously paying off for you, but what has made the biggest difference for you starting out the season as strong as you have?
Coming into the season healthy, training really hard during the off season. Yamaha Troy Boost Mobile with the awesome bike they've given me. We've been working really hard on that thing, and just really glad to be back on Yamaha. That's kind of where I started. I just feel like I'm at home here, so I think that's made a big difference for me.
Ryan Morris got his feet wet on the podium last weekend, looking to do it again. But this guy here, Matt Gerke, consistency has been the key for you so far. 2 third-place podium finishes, and this weekend coming into your hometown crowd.
Yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait to race tonight. I'm on an awesome bike, Boost Mobile, Yamaha Troy. My team, everybody's awesome.
Now this year so far, you've been extremely consistent and confident. What has been the newfound key for you for this newfound confidence?
Well, the main thing is my team and everybody I'm surrounding myself with this year, and also my trainer, Jim Delzer, and Dr. Metzger have been helping me out a lot.
Tell you what, guys, a new team, new environment, and new equipment for these guys. All this hard work is finally paying off.
Well, it's pretty interesting to see those 2 teammates tied up there. Jeff, what's your take on those 2 young riders?
Well, I think they're both pretty solid, and they look great in qualifying practice earlier today, for sure.
Trust us when I tell you that this championship is certainly not over in any stretch of the imagination. we also had the opportunity to catch up with a whole bunch of other riders who are contenders for this championship.
You know, I don't know. The bikes I've been riding are awesome, and you know, we had a tough race last weekend going down last lap, and you know, it definitely cost me the points and the points lead at this point. But you know, I just got to go in here, be smart, and just try and get up on that podium every time.
I'd like to be in the point chase for sure. You know, I was more looking at every round. You know, take each race at a time. But for sure, I like to be. I'm at a good position. I mean, 12 points down in 4th place. Gerke and Morris, I think, are tied for 1st, but I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now. I still feel like I have a good chance, so looking forward to it.
I've actually kind of had 2 bad races already, and I'm still in the mix, so just need to do what I can do. And Daytona here, it's going to mix it up a lot with the sand and kind of outdoor style, so it should be good. We're all pretty tight. The top 5 or 6, 7 guys are all pretty tight, so it's going to come down to, I think, the last race and who can hold it together.
A lot of people out there was not much hype on me this off season, so I just did my job and put my head down and did what I needed to do. So it kind of just motivated me a little bit that, you know, no one felt I was a threat, but you know, I showed that maybe I can do good and get on the podium, maybe even win now and then.
Obviously, after last weekend, being able to get a win and get back in the points chase was good, you know, but I'm just trying to focus on it more race by race at the moment, just because, you know, I didn't finish that first round, and I need to be every week up front and trying to score as many points as I can. So going into the night, just the same thing as last week, basically.
Well, let's take a look at the Daytona Supercross track here. It's actually built on the grass section of the Daytona Speedway's tri-oval, and you can see the grass coming down here to start. That's always one of the most important parts. See this soil over here? That's the sand that's underneath of the grass. All of this clay, the lighter areas there, that's what they put on top. Whoop section, as always, is going to be super important. Who can get through there the fastest? Some riders were skimming it. Some riders were jumping through it. One thing I know for sure is that the Daytona track is going to change drastically as the night goes on. So it's extremely challenging for these riders. Some more track off to the right, but the most important part, this right here, the finish line. That's how you get your name on the plate over at the Daytona Museum.
Something Ricky Carmichael has done on 5 different occasions before tonight. He hopes to make it 6. He gave us the opportunity to put a camera with him to take us for a ride.
All right, here we go, everybody. A lap at Daytona Supercross, a little 4-pack here, wheelie over it. Simple little double coming into a very technical section, little on, off. Some guys are going to go inside like I just did right here. Up and over this, over a little single, you turn left. Very technical whoop section. You guys can see it's edged out right there, so it's hard to keep your momentum. Same kind of deal, on, off right here. I'm going inside. I don't know that that's going to be the fastest in the main event. Up and over, you turn left here. Little triple action for the fans. You can see that high line, the low line. There's a little double. We're staying low. Don't want to be up in the air. Little double there. Natural terrain section there. Left-hand turn into a rhythm lane of about 7 jumps. You go triple, triple, single into some rough outdoor type section. Little left-hand turn here. That's going to be very deep tonight. And then turning right. Going to come over here before the finish line. Very rough there. They kind of just put jumps all over the place. And there you go. There's a finish line. Hopefully I'm the guy that's the first to come through there.
Do you live and breathe motorcycle racing? Now you can get the latest race results and news right on your phone with weekly green alerts from Speed. Text KX to 7733333 on your phone to receive free motorcycle racing text alerts. Speed Green Alerts, presented by Kawasaki. Well, it is time to drop the gate on the first heat of the night and go racing. From the Daytona Supercross, stay with us.
Thank you, baby.
Wins action, guys. Let's get at it.
All right, Dave, thank you. We are set to go. The guys are in the gate for the first heat for the lights.
Well, I'm liking the inside there off the start for sure.
Here's our Kawasaki Lights race format. 2 heats, top 9 transferring straight to the main. 1 last chance qualifier where we'll get our final 4 riders to tonight's main event, which will be 22 riders for 15 laps. Last year's winner, the guy that won the East Coast Championship, Davey Millsaps. He'll be here tonight, but not in the lights class. He's moved up to the big 450s. He's going to be in the Supercross class.
Yeah, it's not going to be as easy as it was last year, that's for sure.
This lights class, Jeff, has been just so tough. You just never know who is going to come out on top. First race won by Ryan Dungey in his first points-paying AMA Supercross event. Then last week, Ben Townley gets his first. Here are the riders getting set for heat number 1, and we're going to get to see Darcy Lange right away. One of the 2 riders tied for the points lead, Matt Gerke in here. Brian Morris also.
Well, there's a lot of great riders here on the East, and I mean, there's a handful of guys that can win each and every week, and we've seen that the first race, the winner, the next race he got 18th, got rider that got 22nd in the first race, ended up coming back and winning the second race, so it's pretty mixed up.
Here's a good look at that start stretch. Full of grass. How tricky is grass?
Well, it's pretty slippery. They actually laid down quite a bit of water on the track after the qualifying practice. It was pretty dry, and the clay areas were pretty dry, slippery, and the sand was really loose. And when you throw a little bit of water down on that grass, it makes it slippery. And coming into the first turn is something that these riders really didn't get a chance to practice earlier today.
Here's Aaron Banks with a Progressive Direct pre-race report.
Well, guys, at 20 years old, you'd think riding in front of your hometown crowd would be too much pressure and too intense for anybody to handle, but not the case for the number 33 of Matt Gerke right behind us here. I asked him earlier how many family and friends he has here. He said he has at least over 1,000, but he has absolutely no idea, and taking a win here tonight would mean the world.
Incredibly confident young man. Spent some time talking with him in the hotel last week in St. Louis, and boy, he is just feeling the confidence just bubbling over.
Well, there's no doubt that the Boost Yamaha guys have really got a good team put together, and both their riders are sitting on top of the points.
That's Ryan Sipes on the 55, right alongside of Matt. This will be a big learning experience as to where the best spot is to start tonight.
Yeah, and as you can notice, typically the starters box is in the very, is in the middle of the gate, and there's an even number of gates on each side. And here it's a little bit different tonight.
There's a look at the doghouse right in the center. The board goes sideways. That means we're set to go here from Daytona. Couple of riders go off as we fight our way out for the whole shot. Looks like Jessamine on the 121 takes the early lead as we go flying through the Daytona night.
You can see they worked on the track. Track builders fixed it up, smoothed everything out, took out all the really bad ruts in the turns. And right here, the first set of whoops, there was a lot of water down there, extremely slippery. They're not skimming across the top there, they're actually just jumping through those.
Jessamine out to the early lead. Looks like Sipes sitting right there in second place. And Brock Tickle on the 75 of the Yamaha to Cary, North Carolina, running along in third.
Tickle's definitely putting it together. Had a great finish last week, and I mean, I think he really believes in himself, and so he's going to want to get up front here and try to nab a heat win.
Sipes takes the lead away as they bounce through that really rough section. We heard Ricky Carmichael talking about just how torn up this area here is going to get throughout the course of the night.
Well, if you guys think it looks bad now, wait till later, because right now they've fixed it all up with the tractors. It's new right now. By the end of that Supercross main event, it's going to be tough.
Look at how deep it's going to get here. As you can see already, these guys battling through the sand. A little rhythm section, cutting across the start area, and off we go. There's Gerke on the 33, and he rides in fifth right now, behind Morris.
Well, for our points leader here, you see him switching it up, each one using a different line. Morris wasn't able to step off of that tabletop there.
That's Morris on the 116, the second rider in line. Gerke just in front of him. Now they're trying to catch Tickle. They run fourth and fifth right now.
See, once again, Morris makes a little mistake there. What I was talking about, they put down all that water because the track was so dry earlier. Got pretty squirrely coming out of that right-hander.
There's the 114 of Justin Brayton, also in this points chase. We talked to him earlier today. Now, this is one of those young riders that really almost what he doesn't know can't hurt him. He wasn't expected to be right in this points battle, but he is, and he's just enjoying the moment.
Well, he's enjoying the moment, but he's up there in the points. He said he's had 2 bad races, so if he gets it together, it would be really impressive to see him come out and win a race and get up on the podium. And right now, Ralph, the track's going to break in a little bit. Second qualifying heat is actually probably going to have the fastest qualifying lap, but definitely the track is in much better shape right now than earlier today, the last time that they rode it. So they have to get a feel for all of the lines are going to start, all of the ruts and the turns are going to start to develop now, as opposed to how bad it was earlier in the qualifying practice.
It is the longest Supercross track of the season, but in a lot of ways it's also one of the slowest because it does get so rutted up. You end up taking some slower lines very tight to the inside.
Yeah, it's not the traditional layout, even though the track builders have some traditional obstacles here. It is just so tricky because you have the grass on top, and underneath of that is the soft sand I was talking about earlier, and then the clay that they lay down here for the berms and the jumps. And what happens is that for the transitions between the clay and the sand and the grass, it makes these huge square edge bumps, and it gets pretty tricky.
Halfway through here with heat number 1. We're going to take a quick break, but we're coming right back to the Daytona International Speedway.
Wake up, Elliott!
55 Honda of Ryan Sipes is out front and leading here in heat number 1 for the AMA Supercross Lights East Coast Series. The top 9 riders will transfer straight out of this heat to the main event. Those are the names in green scrolling across the top of your screen. Everybody whose name is highlighted in red is a rider who desperately needs to improve, or he's going straight to the last chance qualifier.
A couple of guys are doing their job right here. We're taking a look at Brandon Jessman, 121. Got a good start, limited the mistakes, and getting the feel for the track. And in these qualifying races, you not only want to get your qualifying position, that's the obvious. What's not so obvious is that you want to get dialed in for the main event. You want to find lines, and you want to keep an eye out for parts of the track that are different from earlier today in the qualifying practice, and where some new lines can be found for the main event.
Ricky Renner on the 532 out of Mulberry, Florida. The Team Solitaire Honda holds the final transfer spot. He's in 9th, and as long as he can stay there and keep Eklund behind him, he's going straight to tonight's main event.
And he's got a good little gap there to work with, and just got about a little less than a lap to go here.
Back up towards the front of the field, there's Sipes. Things going pretty smooth for him. Jessamine not within striking distance, about 3 seconds behind.
See him jumping through the whoops there, and then he has to skim out. I think he was really kind of doing a wheelie tap over 3 of these. That's what we call it. And you're going to do that until those whoops get a little more tacky, get a little more traction. You might try to skim across the top.
Explain for those that might be new to Supercross what a wheelie tap is.
Well, that's something that that's a phrase that we've used, since we were little boys. It's where you hit the first whoop, pick the front wheel up, tap the rear wheel on the second one, and then drop both wheels down after the third one.
There's Jessman sitting in 2nd, looking at a good transfer spot. Of course, this race being contested at night, but for many years, Jeff, including the year that you won, it was in the heat of the day.
Yeah, this track is so challenging, whether it's day or night, but the lighting's pretty good here, but it just changes a little bit because you have the light dirt and the dark dirt. And that, for me, that was always something that I found very difficult, especially when the track gets rutted, and the deeper that the rut gets, the less light that gets down inside there. So you really don't know how deep it is. You don't know if there's a couple of bumps inside of that rut either. So that's why you see the riders moving around quite a bit here.
White flag was out when he came across the line the last time, so Sipes just a few corners and a handful of jumps away from a straight trip to tonight's main.
This is a great heat race for him. He's a rider that has a real opportunity to win races and be up there in the championship points.
And he's getting quicker as the heat goes on. His best time was a 1:14.483, and he did that on his very last lap, and that's exactly what you want to see.
Oh, definitely. But look right here as he comes through the last turn. Look how deep this rut is already. I mean, he's moving all over the track just to find a good line.
Here he comes, checkered flag for Ryan Sipes. He wins heat number 1 for the Supercross Lights East Coast Series. Jessamine is across as well. Here come the riders a little deeper in the field, including Bonnie and Darcy Lange. This is the fight for that final transfer spot, which looks like it's going to go to the 532 of Ricky Renner. It will. Those are the 9 riders going on to the main. Here's Aaron.
Well, guys, Ryan Sipes is just getting his helmet off, trying to catch a breath here. Ryan, an outstanding heat race for you. Conditioning is going to be a factor here tonight. Are you back to 100% healthy?
You know, not back to 100%, but getting better every day, getting better every week, and not able to do a lot of training, but mainly just riding a week, trying to get my form back on the bike, and just looking to come out strong every weekend.
Coming out strong indeed after puncturing a lung and cracking some ribs. See if you can put it together for the main event.
It is hard to find one of these Supercross riders who truly is 100% healthy. They've all taken some vicious wrecks, and since they're so young and in such great shape, it's amazing that they're able to bounce back as quickly as they are. Here are the top 9 riders going straight to the main. Daryl Eklund will lead the rest of the field onto the last chance qualifier. So heat 1 is in the books. The other riders getting set for heat number 2. We'll have it for you when we come back to Daytona here on Speed. Speed bringing you the Daytona Supercross by Honda. It's Friday night here in Bike Week, traditionally the night of Supercross. A lot of folks this season have been watching this young rider right here in the number 62, Ryan Dungey. He won the opening points round for the East Coast Series. Things got underway down in Atlanta. He will be in this one with last week's winner, Ben Townley. And we'll also get to see the Alessi brothers, Jeff and Mike.
Yeah, always makes for an interesting race when Mike Alessi is in there. And you know, these guys are going to race hard. We've also seen Andrew McFarland coming back from an arm injury earlier this season. This is his first race back, too.
Zach Osborne in this heat as well. He is right in the middle of the points chase. Good look at the riders getting those goggles adjusted, and you can see the tear-offs.
Now, I think we should really keep an eye on the lap times here, because that is going to tell the story. The winner of this one, fastest heat, is going to get first pick on the gate, and that's always important. So, but the track is going to be primo this time. Couple of lines developed. Ruts aren't going to be too deep. Guy out front is going to definitely be able to lay down some hot laps.
Sipes' best lap on 1:14.483.
Yeah, well, we'll see if one of these guys, and I think there's some good guys in here that can probably best that, but we'll see how it turns out.
There's the 30-second board. It goes sideways, it leaves the track, and then we're set to go racing. Oh, right off towards the tuck blocks, and one rider goes down, including Dungey, who gets run over by another motorcycle. He is up. Townley stuck in there as well on the 101.
And the 50 of Billy Laninovich also got taken down. Good to see Dungey got up. It looked like he had a pretty hard hit there. Got run over by a couple of bikes.
Having a hard time getting that Makita Suzuki fired up. Now the mechanics cannot start it for him. Let's see what happened here, Jeff.
Looks like he's got the start pretty easy. Well, we're taking a look back there. A couple of guys got hooked up. That's actually
Alessi on the 800 with one rider stuck in the bike.
Wow, he drug him along pretty far here. I'm sure he's going to have some road rash on that right leg of his. Whew, that's a tough one.
Dungey still trying to get the bike fired, and remember, he's right in the points.
Yeah, this is a tough break. He's gonna, well, he has started this race, so he's definitely gonna have to go through the LCQ.
Meanwhile, Robert Caneri on the 54, the Kawasaki.
You can see how loose and rutted that sand section is, even right here, just one race. The jump faces and all that are.
So Caneri leading heat number 2. Jeff, we've talked so far this season about how this East Coast Series has been so crazy. Just what you expect to see happen is not what you get. We would have expected Dungey to get a good hole shot, get out and be in the thick of the race, and he's not. He's going straight to the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the 4 favorites in this event were down off the start, but this opens the door for Canary. He's put in some great rides last year, some good rides this year. This is just what a rider needs. Maybe a little break here, get his confidence up, go win this heat race in front of the Daytona crowd and feel that energy that is here at the Daytona Supercross and feed off that.
Back to second place is the 156 machine. That's William Browning out of Rushville, Ohio.
And we're taking a look at a guy here, number 52, Tommy Hahn. This is a guy that needs some good luck to happen this season. He has had nothing but bad luck. It is, I mean, just one thing after another.
Desperately in need of a good night is Hahn. And the way things have been going, it just might be tonight.
Yeah, well, this East Coast Lights Championship Series, just 2 races in, has just been so mixed up. I don't think I've ever seen a series that has been so flip-flopped in 2 rounds. And, I mean, Hahn, this is what he needs. Get into the main event here, which he's having trouble with this season, and get that good start in the main event.
Hahn in third right now. Remember, as the names scroll across the top of the screen, those in green hold transfer spots to the main event. Those in red looking at a trip to the last chance qualifier.
You can see right here, just we're only in our second qualifying race, and some of the ruts are already digging in. That dark dirt, that's all sand. The light stuff, the yellowy orange light stuff, that's pretty hard clay. And no, couldn't make the pass there on the inside. He's going to try another pass here.
To the outside, here comes Hahn. It'll be the inside of the next corner, and it works for him.
And really has to get traction there before that triple. It's pretty loose. He was pretty far inside. 250F, it's pretty tough to make that triple. And you really seen him squat down on the bike and pull down. And that's to force that rear tire into the ground and get some traction.
Halfway through, heat number 2. Townley, remember, he went down in that first corner, and he is fighting his way back through the field, trying to get himself a transfer spot. And Townley closing in on Jeff Alessi, hoping to earn himself a trip out of the last chance qualifier straight to the main. Stay with us here on Speed. Daytona, watching a fight between Alessi and Townley.
Yeah, that's actually Jeff Alessi there, 801. Thought Townley had the pass there a couple of turns ago, and Jeff holding tough. He has really been putting in some pretty good rides this year so far, besting his brother on a couple of occasions.
And they're closing in as well on Tucker Hibbert. That's Tucker right there in the 76.
See, he's going to take inside. Townley's going to try to get down the right side here.
And Kyle Tobin is in this pack as well on the 335.
You see Townley mixing up the lines. He gets out of that main line and he squares him back up, coming across, getting out of sequence.
Boy, Townley flat out.
Yeah, that was a pretty aggressive move. And earlier in practice, nobody even went to the right before the finish line. And it's just changing up that much. Riders had another chance to look at the track and find some extra lines. And that's what you have to do when you're moving through the pack here at Daytona. You have to have different lines tucked away in your hip pocket to use.
Townley on that Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki. On top of that Red Bull KTM, the orange machine is Alessi. Look at Townley around the outside, trying to carry more momentum. Boy, he just didn't get through that section well at all.
He did not, and there is no flow in those U-turn sections there. It is really tough.
Patience is what's going to pay off for him, though, as they get around Tobin and pick up one more spot.
Well, every spot you pick up is a better gate pick for the final, so it's important.
Jeff Alessi carrying the banner for the Alessi crew right now because his brother Mike buried back in 10th and not a transfer spot straight to the main.
These guys are catching up to Browning right now also. He was right up front off the start.
White flag is out for our leader, Tommy Hahn. The 47 is Smith. Kelly holding on to third right now. So Alessi and Townley really coming up through this field.
Yeah, Townley making that line work again there. And what happens, this inside lines on some of these sections, some of these sand sections, if you're following a guy, he makes a little mistake, slows you up. The guy that takes the alternate line keeps his speed up and comes around the outside.
Alessi with a quick peek over the shoulder, trying to figure out where Townley went. He knows he's back there. Townley will try that outside again.
Switching it up, he should go outside. Nope.
Still not good through there.
No, that section is tough, and it's clay, and it's sand, and it's ruts, and extremely challenging. Oh yeah, it's
very nasty.
See how they kind of bottle up on the inside, and you see Townley not following.
Meanwhile, up front, Tommy Hahn on his way to picking up a win here in heat number 2.
You see him taking a look to his left there, seeing where second place is. I think he's going, am I really going to win a heat race here? Is my luck really going to turn around right now?
By the way, his fastest lap on 1:15.5, so it will be slower, but he takes the win here in heat number 2. Here's that great battle coming to the line. Canary's across in second. Smith will get third. Alessi will get fourth. Townley will take fifth. But a great run for Townley to come back after a horrible start. The biggest disappointment in the whole thing will be Ryan Dungey, who never got past the first turn. Aaron.
Well, guys, Tommy Hahn is just getting off his helmet. Same deal, trying to get a breath, and he is smiling this weekend, but that wasn't the case last weekend. Tommy, a much better heat race for you here tonight. What made the difference?
Just my team backing me. You know, I couldn't have done it without Honda. You know, they got me off to a good start. Spun a little bit off the gate, but the bike runs so good it pulled me out there. And I'd like to thank Dunlop for all their help. Fox, Asterisk, Specialized Bicycles, Amp Mobile, all those guys that are sticking behind me.
Now, last weekend you had got hit so hard in the elbow that your fingers went entirely numb and you couldn't hold onto the bike any longer. How is your elbow at this point?
It's sore. It's sore. That and my chest is pretty sore, but I'm working through it. I rode all week with Davey Millsaps and Kevin Windham, so you know they definitely helped me out a bunch with my confidence, and I'm ready for the main event.
Guys, it's hard to believe he had an accomplishment like that when he tore the cartilage from his ribs earlier this week.
That's a tough injury to come back from.
Oh, it definitely is, but it's got to feel good here. Honda-sponsored event, him winning this heat race.
There are the 9 riders that earned the transfer tickets from the heat to the main. Greg Schnell and the rest, including Ryan Dungey, on to the LCQ. Up next will be the Supercross class, including James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael in Heat 1 when speed returns to Daytona. You might be Saki KX 450F plus a trip to the AMA Supercross Series finale in Las Vegas. Log on to speedtv.com with this weekly code word. See speedtv.com for details and official rules. The Speed Duke for a Day contest presented by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. You know, I got to tell you, I wish at some point that they would allow us at Speed to participate in some of those contests, because that one is fantastic. If you're a motorcycle fan, does it get any better than that?
I don't think so. That is a great package.
Hey, you get to win a motorcycle, come to Vegas, and have a good time with us. Congratulations to whoever that lucky winner will be. We'll see you there. All right, here we go. Heat number 1 for the Supercross class. Before we drop the gate, we have to touch base with Aaron Bates for a Progressive Direct pre-race report.
Well, guys, I spoke with Ricky Carmichael earlier this afternoon and asked him what it would mean to him to take this final Daytona race win. He said, to be honest, Aaron, I've already won here 5 times in the past. This is where I started my career. Growing up in Florida, I raced all the local races, and this is where I plan on ending my career here in Florida. But Daytona, he said, this is it, fans. This one's for you.
There's the number 4 right alongside of Kevin Windham's number 14. Let's show you all the names in heat number 1. Boy, this one's packed. Stewart, Carmichael, Travis Preston on the Honda, Ivan Tedesco, Carmichael's teammate, and Kevin Windham. And there's Davey Millsaps, who won this race last year in the lights class.
Yeah, well, he definitely is going to have some incentive to win here. Florida guy himself.
We've seen so much how difficult that start area is just in the opening 2 heats for the lights class. What do you think a guy like Carmichael or Stewart are thinking right now as you're in the gate?
Well, get the start, get out there to the inside. You know, This is a pretty long start. These guys are really hooking by the time they get down to the first turn, and then the grass actually drops off into a dark sandy area.
Here we go. Into turn one. It looks like Kyle Lewis maybe got the jump. He did on the 23. And that's Ivan Tedesco on the Makita Suzuki right there taking the lead away. Carmichael deep in the field. Not sure what happened to Ricky.
Yeah, well, chances are he went down off the start somewhere there, and definitely not how he wanted to start this Daytona Supercross, his final one.
Let's see what happened to him, Jeff, as we go back and take a look at the replay of the start.
Carmichael there on the 4. Doesn't really get the jump. He gets pinched off pretty good.
Well, he just got squeezed out, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's right here on the inside. Just looked like hit a sand rut or something, just kind of pulled the front wheel down.
The key, though, is he kept the bike going, because starting up those 450s after they've stalled is virtually impossible.
Well, Ricky's a smart racer. He's going to take his time going through these riders. He's going to be as aggressive as he needs to.
Look at James Stewart on the number 7 Monster Kawasaki. The speed is just mind-boggling. He just literally ate up Ivan Tedesco.
Yeah, you guys want to see aggressiveness and intensity. Watch the number 7 here. He sometimes goes so fast you just can't believe that you're watching it, and he uses so much momentum over the jumps, over the triples, through the whoops. I mean, it's mind-boggling.
Well, look at, I mean, everybody else pretty much tiptoeing around this racetrack and realize these are the best Supercross racers in the world. As we go back and watch Carmichael now working his way through the field, and he's up to 14th. 9 or better gets you straight to the main, so that's where Ricky has got to go. Back there with Davey Millsaps on the 118.
Yeah, you can see those guys skimming those whoops, and they got a little bit of traffic here. And Carmichael's just going to play it smart. I'm sure he's going to do the best he can here. He's not going to do anything crazy, try to win this race. He knows that Stewart's probably going to be way out front. See Ricky using a different line here than the other guys actually doubling that. You can either go 1-1 or you go way to the right. You can do this huge double.
But the one thing he's going to want to do is avoid that last chance qualifier. Now, the Supercross heat's a little longer than the lights races. These are 8 laps each.
Well, in this Daytona Supercross, we have the same amount of laps, but the lap time here for James Stewart's a 1:09. It's 15-20 seconds longer than what a normal Supercross lap would be.
Carmichael gets around Tyler Evans on the 53. He can put Ricky up to 10th. So he's 1 spot out of a transfer right now.
Well, he's thinking not only transfer, I don't think he's too worried about that. He's worried about his gate pick at this point and just getting dialed in for the race. Like I said earlier, finding the line, taking a look at the track, seeing how it develops. And because once these guys get to the main event, after the lights main event, the LCQs and all that, the track is going to be so challenging.
This is a fight for 3rd. That's Kyle Lewis on the 23 in the red and white riding gear. In the gray gear with the 14 on the back, Kevin Windham.
And speaking of final races, this is Kyle Lewis's final race too. He has had a lot of time as a professional motocross and supercross racer, and I think he's really been enjoying it. I speak to him each and every weekend, and he's such a great starter. Every time that I see him on the line, I always choose him for the whole shot.
And a lot of times you're right.
Yep.
Like he would have been tonight. So Windham gets around Lewis for 3rd. We're going to take a quick break, but we're coming right back to the Daytona Supercross.
Wake up!
Lead here in heat number 2, or heat number 1, I should say, of the Supercross class. The man chasing him, Ricky Carmichael, out of the gate, dropped all the way back to 20th position. Now up to 6th, comfortably in a transfer spot. Those are the riders listed in green that have those transfer positions to the main.
See Carmichael here switching it up, getting a run at this whoop section, shifting up to 3rd or 4th gear there on a 450.
And that's Travis Preston fighting with Kyle Lewis. Preston on the 11. Those riders battling over 4th position right now. Windham had eventually gotten around Lewis and has taken over 3rd.
This shot here from up above, or that we had there, you can really see how much this track here at Daytona has deteriorated and only being the 3rd qualifying race of the evening program. It just is so difficult. And even the winner here always, nobody has a perfect race. They're going to make a mistake and have their feet off and be flailing around somewhere along the line.
Carmichael taking a very comfortable pace as he works his way up towards the front. His best lap, a 1:14.3. James Stewart's best, a 1:09.
That's quite a bit there, Ralph. I'm no mathematician, but that's quite a ways off. But Ricky has been going through all of this traffic, and I'm sure he's going to drop it down.
Well, and as you said, he knows that it's just about getting up into a transfer and then getting a good gate pick. So he's in a great position right now in 4th. Might be able to get Wyndham before he's done with 3 laps to go.
Taking a look here.
That's Millsaps on the 118, and Davey right behind Preston in 6th position.
Millsaps 118 there. He is so good through the whoops. I mean, this guy is so tall and uses those legs to his advantage.
Look at how fast James Stewart is. It is amazing. We watched a lot of these riders just basically tiptoeing around. Look, our camera can't even keep up with it. They've been tiptoeing around this racetrack, and Stewart's so aggressive, just absolutely attacking every obstacle.
And you can just hear him scream in that 450 engine. The riders, they'll shift up to 3rd or 4th there and just completely rev it out. They want to get a lot of wheel spin going through those whoops and carry a lot of momentum.
James's Kawasaki does a great job soaking up a lot of these obstacles, but so does his body. An incredibly fit rider. You can just watch him taking it all in.
Well, he's incredibly fit because the Stewart program is ride. They were doing, Eric Sorby was down at the Stewart practice facility earlier this week, said they were doing upwards of 5 20-minute motos a day.
Put that in perspective. What would the rest of the guys be doing as we see Stewart get the white flag? What would you have done on average if he's doing 5 20-minute motos a day? What'd you do?
Well, I like to replicate the race. I like to do a heat, and I like to do a main event, and I'll probably work on a couple of sprints or whatnot. But Stewart is different in from Carmichael and some of the other guys. He has a tendency to ride the motorcycle more than anyone, and maybe spends a little less time training, conditioning on a bicycle or running or whatnot. But I don't know exactly what his program is, but I heard that he also works on a lot of strength training. And that's what pays off here at Daytona, because these 450s are big bikes. There's a lot of horsepower, a lot of inertia and momentum that you have to harness, and you have to guide it around this track. And there's no doubt that Stewart has put together a program that, is putting him right up on top.
We've never seen him lose one on conditioning, that's for sure.
Yeah, not on conditioning, racing, a couple of crashes here and there, but I mean, that's why he looks so comfortable on the bike, and he just has such good flow and such good technique. That's because he gets so much seat time.
Working his way around. His last lap, a 1:11.4. Carmichael has gone down to a 1:12. So Ricky's in the zone, and Stewart takes the win in heat number 1. Tedesco is gonna get 2nd place, and Wyndham and Carmichael are gonna battle over 3rd. Carmichael looks like he's pretty settled with 4th, actually. It doesn't look like he's pushing too hard right here.
Yeah, that was odd there. I thought something might have happened, but he backed off the pace quite a bit. Up there, I don't know.
He's really kind of putting to the line, isn't he?
That he is.
So Wyndham takes 3rd, Carmichael in 4th, and let's go to Aaron.
Well, guys, James Stewart had said that he had been struggling all day today in practice. James, that obviously wasn't the case here in your heat race. You just checked right out. What made the difference?
I just think I got a good start, and I still don't feel comfortable. So, just go out and do what I can do, and just gotta get up to the boys at Kawasaki. They trying to make me feel as comfortable as I can, but maybe I'm just having some personal problems, and I just can't seem to find it. But it should be good. We'll get out there and have fun and see what happens.
Are you guys gonna head back to the pits and make any modifications to the bike before the main event?
We might. We watch the video, maybe try change the tire setup or something like that. Something small.
Congratulations, great job out there.
I can't imagine how much more dominant he could be if he felt comfortable.
Yeah, that's
tonight.
That is amazing.
Here's the results from heat number 1. Top 9 again going on to the main. That'll include all those riders down to Heath Voss, We're coming right back for more from Bike Week, including heat number 2 for the Supercross class, right after these words.
It was a world
class, the last heat race of the night here at the Daytona Supercross by Honda. Racing in the grass area of the Tri-Oval at the big speedway. There's Chad Reed wearing the green and yellow riding gear tonight. He's going to be in this one with Tim Ferry, Stewart's teammate, and we get to see Grant Langston, first time in a long time, on the number 8 Yamaha.
Well, and it's good that he's in this heat race. He crashed right in front of me earlier today in the qualifying practice, and great to see him back up on the bike and lined up for this heat race.
Starts have been so important here tonight.
Oh yeah, good guys have gone down in every heat race that we've seen, and they've had to ride from behind.
Here we go, heat number 2. Riders down. It looked like Ferry who was going to come out with the whole shot. That's Josh Summey on the 36. And Josh Woods, yeah, on the 63. All right, so Reed is in second, chasing Eric Sorby on the 917, and Sorby's really come on strong lately.
Well, you know, I think you have to attribute part of that being down, he's been staying down with James Stewart, practicing and doing the motos with him, and he says his confidence is as high as ever and feels pretty good on the bike, definitely good on those starts.
Here comes the former champion Reed right past Sorby and into the lead on the number 22 Yamaha.
Man, look at the lead that he pulled there. It was like a second and a half right away. Just by staying out of those inside grooves, going through those tight S turns, he found that going a little wide, running the running the berms was a little quicker.
That's Tim Ferry on the other monster Kawasaki, James Stewart's teammate. Ferry not on a factory team last year, getting the opportunity again this year and really making the best of it.
You see those guys just following each other. Well, Ferry following Sorby through there, really having to wait up on him, but right now he makes the pass.
So Ferry up into second on the factory Kawasaki in front of Sorby, and Chad Reed is just checking out. He's up to about a 3-second lead already, and this is a great opportunity for Reed to capitalize on, because if he can go out and win this heat, he'll get a great gate pick in the main event, and that gives him a real good shot at battling Stewart for the win.
Well, that's all important for the championship, but you know, number 15 this year, Tim Ferry, he had a really good qualifying sessions earlier today. The team, everything's working pretty good together. He feels that he can run with Chad Reed. So we'll see if he can reel him in here, make a challenge for this heat race win, boost that confidence level.
As it has been throughout the other heats tonight, the riders in green across the top of your screen hold the 9 transfer spots. Those in red looking at a trip to the last chance qualifier.
Well, I can tell you right now, you see Reed making a little mistake there. Ferry getting through all these deep ruts. This track here at Daytona is all about flow, and you either have it or you don't. It is very hard to find that flow if you don't start out that first qualifying practice and feel good. It just feels so foreign, and the teams will do their best to change the bike setups and all that to make you comfortable, but it really is all about having that flow right when you get here.
That's Jason Thomas on the 31. Jason fighting for that final transfer spot. David Villeman in that challenge as well in the number 12. Johnson on the 120, trying to get himself into this main event. Kevin giving a good run. There's Villeman just in front of Thomas on the 12.
Hey, we got a pretty good race here. You can see Grant Langston sneaking up behind here.
Yeah, Langston does not have a transfer spot yet.
Oh, Skinner makes a little mistake there. It gets bottled up in that deep rut. Outside's going to get a little better as the night goes on.
Langston working his way around, trying to pick up a couple of spots. We're coming right back to Daytona after these words. Leading heat number 2, the final heat race of the night here at the Daytona Supercross by Honda. Reed's best effort, a 1:12.9. We saw James Stewart at a 1:09. Do you think Stewart's just cruising, or is that all he's got? As we go back to the battle for second now. That's actually Eric Sorby on the 9:17. This is a fight for third, not second. Sorby and Michael Byrne.
Michael Byrne actually had a pretty bad spill in the second qualifying practice earlier today and separated his shoulder. So like we talked about, all of these Supercross riders, seems like everybody this year has had to ride with an injury at one race or another, and Michael's having to do that here tonight.
So do you think Reed can match that 1:09 if he has to? Is he just kind of pacing himself here to the finish as we watch Sorby?
Well, only Chad knows that for sure, but 3 seconds quite a bit of time to pick up.
Behind Byrne is David Villeman on the 12.
Track has deteriorated quite a bit. I mean, it is really going away, and it's getting so challenging as we see another rider down here.
There's the Asterisk medical crew right there to assist. See if that rider is okay. That's Antonio Balbi on the 965.
Take a look here. Grant Langston just bumps into him. Comes back to the inside, gives him another bump, pushes him off there, gets that tough block. Wasn't too hard of a fall, but he's definitely in the LCQ.
Now that would put Langston inside the top 9 as the white flag is out. We watch Reed making his way to the finish line. Look at how deep those ruts are. Just picking his way around is Reed.
Yeah, picking his way around. Didn't even have a good line there at all. You can even see that triple jump's getting pretty rutted up. There's a double right there that he doesn't even jump this lap.
Reed on the Team San Manuel Band of Mission Indians Yamaha, a brand new team, the L&M Racing entry.
So definitely a great way to start the weekend here in Daytona and get the flow going and win yourself a heat race.
And that he does as he takes a checkered flag. Chad Reed wins heat number 2. Gets himself set up for tonight's main event. So Langston now, we're watching him on that number 8 Yamaha. That's the factory Yamaha. His first race back. And it looks like he's going to make it into the main event here, straight out of his heat race.
And Langston's had to muscle his way through here. We'll see if he muscles his way past another guy. With only a couple turns to go.
It's Kevin Johnson in front of him on the 120.
Just pulls in behind him, settles for the final qualifying position.
There's a big roost to Josh Summey, who's right behind him on the 36. And poor Josh has to eat some dirt and sand and goes to the last chance qualifier. But Langston wanted a race last week in St. Louis. Put it off one more week, and Aaron, he's going to the main.
He is for sure, but Chad Reed this afternoon, Jeff, you had already mentioned it, he did crash pretty hard, and he hit his melon really good into one of the berms, but yet he somehow managed to have the fastest practice time both practices. Chad, where are your strengths going to lie tonight on this track?
You know, I feel pretty good as, you know, basically I was just trying to check out the track that time, and it's the first time I've had, you know, the second heat, so man, a lot of sand out there, so it's awesome. I just want to get a hole shot because it's going to be really important tonight.
All three of these top contenders, they're all from Florida. Nobody has an advantage.
Getting out in front of that roost so you don't have to eat all that sand is definitely going to be an advantage as well. As you can see, even when you're leading, it can be tough when you come through traffic. Here are the 9 riders going on to the main out of heat number 2. It will include Michael Byrne, who crashed earlier today, and Jason Thomas and Ryan Clark and Grant Langston. We're coming right back. More racing coming your way from Daytona International Speedway.
Up on Tuesday night, it's brand new on Speed. The series premiere of Epic Ride. Ordinary people teaming up with two-wheeled superstars for the ride of a lifetime. Sounds like fun. Who's going to ride with Ralph? We'll find out. Anyway, we're glad you're back. I want to talk to you a little bit about Ricky Carmichael. The day has gotten off to a rather bad start. Bike wasn't working the way he liked in practice, and then it wasn't much of a crash, but he tipped over and had to battle from the back in the heat race. So, big question, can he win his last Daytona? Think about it this way. There's a lot going on in Ricky Carmichael's life right now besides Daytona. earlier today. I had an opportunity to talk to him about that, and we'll roll that interview for you in a moment. First, think about this. Whatever else happens with Ricky Carmichael, his place in Daytona history is secure. Carmichael's first Daytona 250 start was in '99. The motocross world anticipated this Florida redhead was something special. No, he didn't win that Daytona, but he has since won the big race a record 5 times.
Ricky Carmichael continues to lead the 250 main event here at Daytona. No 125 Eastern Supercross champion has ever won a 250 Daytona race.
This is a career day for Carmichael.
And a Floridian has never won the Daytona Supercross. His very first 250 Supercross victory, an 18.5-second lead.
I don't think that's enough. I think he wants to win by 30 seconds.
Ricky Carmichael, who takes the checkers for the second consecutive year here at Daytona International Speedway.
Winning anything here at Daytona is no easy job, and Ricky Carmichael, a measure of just how good he is. He's able to come through and win anyway. 3 in a row joins a very small fraternity. He will stand alongside Jeff Stanton as the only 2 men who have won 4 times in a row here at Daytona. Carmichael does it again. Oh, there's the mistake. It's not Reed, it's Carmichael.
Here comes Carmichael, the factory Suzuki, right up alongside Reed.
The kind of games that Ricky Carmichael plays are the kind that just beat you down, beat you into submission.
Here he is, Ricky Carmichael, to the checkered flag, and a record 5th win here at Daytona. That man has just put himself into the record books again. This is one rider who truly can appreciate what those stats mean.
Well, what's next for the motocross hero nicknamed GOAT, greatest of all time? Stock cars, that's what. And a question. Can one of the greatest two-wheeled racers ever to visit Daytona make history again by also winning Daytona on 4 wheels? Now let's talk now with Ricky Carmichael. We've seen all that Daytona success. You talked at the top of the show about the importance of Daytona. What I didn't hear is how, I mean, you got twins on the way. You got 2 races left to run, and the Supercross thing is done. In all seriousness, how far are you willing to hang it out to try to win Daytona?
Well, I'm not going to take any unnecessary risks. I've really tried to tone that down the last 4 years. Every once in a while I get a little bit crazy, but yeah, I definitely am going to take my time and really rely on my fitness and my wisdom and what I've learned my whole career.
So it's going to be a
Absolutely. This track is very tight tonight. It's personally, I think it's not the best Daytona track I've ever raced, but I just need to have patience. I'm close. So
winding down a career is one thing. Cranking up a new career simultaneously is kind of an unusual thing. You don't see a lot of guys do that. When I say Columbia Motorsports Park, how does that feel to you?
Well, it's I get butterflies in my stomach, to be honest with you. I haven't had that feeling in a long time. You know, a nervous feeling, but a good nervous. Like you want to go out there and you want to live up to everyone's expectations, and just a great chance to learn.
Saturday night, March 24th, in a late model, Lake City, Florida.
Super late model with plenty of horsepower. It's going to be fun.
You grew up a racer. You didn't make a decision somewhere along the line, I'm going to be a racer. You may have made decisions along the line how far you wanted to go. Now, still young, very experienced, very wise in the ways of racing, you have made a conscious decision to go back and start over. Yeah. Be a rookie. Take all that guff. Go through all that hard work again. Why?
Well, like you said, I'm a racer. I was born a racer, and I got a great opportunity to do this, and it's something that I would really like to try. And I am still young in that world of racing, and I have nothing left here to prove, and I'm ready to still be competitive in something, and it's the opportunity came to me, and I'm going to try it.
Are you going to linger as long as Mark Martin?
I don't know. You know, I have no idea, but that guy's amazing, and I know you couldn't linger that long in this sport, that's for sure.
How has he helped you in 15 seconds?
Just you know, he gives me mental confidence, and he tells me the right things that I want to hear.
Every racer that I've ever talked to, good racer, has short-term goals and long-term goals. Short-term, win tonight. Long-term, win every race, every championship, and be the greatest of all time. Many people say you are that already in Supercross. In car racing, Short-term goal, long-term goal?
Short-term goal is to learn as much as I can right off the bat and just be competitive. And obviously a long-term goal is to be in a contender in a cup level someday. That's the long-term goal.
Contender in cup.
Yeah, just, you know, I want to be in there in the battle. You know, I don't want to be filling the field.
Victory lane.
Oh, I mean, just to get out here and something other than a motorcycle would be amazing. If I'm out here racing, I've made it in my NASCAR career.
None of your two-wheeled fans will forget you.
All right.
Good luck, man. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Ricky Carmichael playing catch-up tonight at Daytona. We'll take a break and be back to talk about safety. Daytona, I needed to give you an update on a very, very popular former motocross rider, still doing a lot of racing. Doug Henry has sustained a pretty serious back injury, spinal injury, in a supermoto race at New Smyrna Speedway earlier this week. The latest update on Doug is that he does have vertebral fracture, but little or no damage to the spinal cord. They're very, very optimistic that he'll be able to recover from that injury. It is the second back injury he suffered in his career. We talked about coming down here for 37 years now for Supercross. Perhaps the biggest change in that whole period of time has been in the area of rider safety and in a lot of different areas of rider safety. These guys are now tended by an 18-wheel mobile medical center sponsored by the people from Asterisk, and thank you to them for that. Now there's a new innovation. You hear a lot about the Hans device in stock car racing. This is not exactly that, but it's in the same neighborhood. And Kevin Windham is a big believer in it. So today we got together with him and found out more about it.
So here it is. This is a Leatt neck brace. It's a awesome idea and pretty simple. You just unclip this one clip here, slide it right around the neck. One clip and you're ready to go. It rides right under your jersey, right on top of your jersey, whichever way you prefer. And what it does is it, with your helmet on, restricts extreme ranges of motion, both in the front and the rear. And I think that's really the biggest thing, is to give yourself some added safety out there. And we've seen that the neck injuries can happen to any of us on any skill level. So I like to wear the Leatt. It doesn't hinder me in my performance, in my riding, and actually helps me ride with added confidence. You've seen my best results with racing with the Leatt, and it's something that I think that you'll see myself and a lot more riders wearing here in the near future.
And with that, I'm joined by Bruce Porter of Arai Helmets, who has a new innovation. Rider's injured, got to get the helmet off. If he has a head injury, that's a problem. You've got a solution.
Absolutely, Dave. This year in AMA Professional Motocross and Supercross, the riders are required to utilize the DeHatz device, which is a system that is very popular in automobile racing today. But we have a similar concern for cervical spine.
Airbag, basically, it inflates and just lifts the helmet.
Installs in the upper portion of the helmet, works with a hand pump.
Most guys don't have that.
That's correct, and it requires some service to make sure that it stays intact. So for the everyday rider, where cervical spinal injuries are obviously still a concern, Mr. Ryan and his company have been moving forward with a system that will allow the removal of the helmet so that we're not making the injury worse should one exist. Exactly. And this new system, which is new in our new product, our VX3, is identified by these orange tabs as the emergency cheek pad removal system. Okay. If you get to a rider and they're unresponsive, we don't want to make a potential injury worse. So the ability to undo the chin strap, identify the system through the tabs, you lift up on the cheek pad, cover itself. Yep. It has an orange leash inside of it that you put your index finger through, and then the cheek pad pulls out the bottom of the helmet so as to allow the entire opening to be easier to remove the helmet without putting any pressure on the cervical spine. It's a system that is retrofittable to all of our products, and we anticipate it coming into our street products as well.
Terrific. Good work.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations to
on
the
behalf
people
of
at
Mr.
Arai.
Ryan.
We continue the efforts on behalf of rider safety. We will take a commercial break at this point and come back to the business of racing here at Daytona. Don't go anywhere. It's the Daytona Supercross by Honda, only on Speed.
Gate coming your way from Daytona International Speedway. Supercross Series racing through the tri-oval here tonight. And here's a look at our starting lineup for the main event. Ryan Sipes and Tommy Hahn, both very quick tonight, Jeff.
Yeah, and Tommy Hahn getting in there, making that main event finally, and ready to turn his series around here at Daytona.
Matt Gerke right in the middle of the points chase, tied atop the standings. And Jeff Alessi came on pretty good in his heat, the better of the two Alessi brothers here tonight.
Well, he has definitely shown that he has some Supercross skills here this season so far. His fastest qualifier at the opening round, so really putting it together. I'm sure he's looking for his first podium.
Ryan Morris also tied in the points championship chase, and Ben Townley the winner a week ago in St. Louis.
Yeah, we even see Darcy Lange there. This guy really is like the rest of our other two winners here in this series. They've lived the dream by winning that first light Supercross, and I talked to him earlier. He said he's ready to do that himself.
22 riders, 15 laps around a very difficult, very challenging, very treacherous circuit here at Daytona. Here's a look at the previous winners of this event. Some of them you'll see coming up in the main for the Supercross class, including James Stewart and Chad Reed. Let's check in with Aaron Bates for a Progressive Direct pre-race report.
Well, guys, the number 101 of Ben Townley, fresh off his first victory here in the United States of America. He said it was an absolutely overwhelming feeling, and he's extremely excited. But he also stated that the win meant more for winning for the team than it actually did for winning for himself, considering that the team has stuck by him since he's been over here in the U.S. through thick and thin and all of his injuries. While he's proven that he's got the speed and the talent to take a win, and living at Ricky Carmichael's has paid off in a big way for him.
One thing these riders are going to have to do is go through a section right here, Jeff, on this start section where they come back across. Now it goes from grass to chewed up back to grass. How much is that going to affect them on the start as they cross through there?
Well, the grass will be a little bit slippery, and you know, they take a tractor and they smooth that out a little bit, but you're definitely looking for a line when you pick your gate spot. You're looking for a line that's clean through there with no bumps, because you're pretty hard on the throttle. A little bit of extra groove or a little bit of extra sand will, lift that front wheel up, and then you have to back off.
There's a look at the 32nd board getting ready, and Darcy Lange giving us this view off the top of his helmet as he looks down that straightaway. Look at these ruts right in front of him here.
Yeah, it's because the grass is on top, and then once you break through that grass, it's just that deep, dark Florida sand. It gets pretty deep, and there's really nothing that you can do to your starting line that outside of just throw some sand in there, try to make it level with the gate. There's not a lot you can do. There's going to be a lot of wheel spin today because there's not a lot of moisture on the grass and in the sand there around the starting area.
Remember, Lange won the Arena Cross Championship earlier this year. A much different racetrack here tonight than an Arena Cross.
Well, it's definitely a challenging event here tonight. We're going to see the lap times drop down from the first to the end quite a bit.
Remember, Arena Crosses are contested inside arenas like hockey or basketball arenas. Here we go. Looks like the whole shot's going to come all the way from the far outside. We didn't really expect that, did we?
We definitely didn't. First race of the season this year, Andrew McFarland grabbing the whole shot in the main event from the outside, and Tommy Hahn, I believe it was, had that whole shot handily. He just shut down too much on the inside, was a little too conservative there.
On a racetrack like this, it's hard to find that balance between being smart and conservative and getting in too much.
Yeah, and these riders that were in the first lights qualifying heat, they had a second heat, the LCQs, both of the Supercross heats of the track is going to be a whole lot different than what they've seen. So the riders that can adapt early on and find good lines are the guys who will excel at the beginning of this race.
That's Townley in second place on the 101 Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki. The winner a week ago inside the Dome in St. Louis. And chasing him is Tommy Hahn on the 52.
And these guys go way back. McFarland and Townley used to ride the World Motocross Championship together, so they've spent a lot of time banging bars with each other.
McFarland on that bright yellow Suzuki. Oh, right over the top block goes Townley.
Yeah, that was odd there. It looked like he just turned down a little early. Might have caught one of them sand ruts. And fortunate, got the front wheel or both wheels over the top block. See, Townley he's being very patient right now. I'm sure that he wants to get out front, but he's...
Here he comes inside. Townley trying to make the move for the lead. He's got it.
Nice move, nice move. Those inside lines through the...
Oh, and look at Hahn come blasting through the whoops. He's going to take over second.
All of these sections right here, this little U-turn and on-off, it's pretty basic. You see, none of these guys opted for the deep rut that was on the inside. As the main event goes on, there might even be 2 or 3 lines coming out of that turn.
Boy, one little mistake tonight is going to cost you a ton of time.
See Townley there almost make that mistake that you were talking about. Lose the lead, had that inside foot down, kind of tapped it a couple times and kept it on 2 wheels. And one thing about the race tonight, Ralph, none of these guys have ever won at Daytona. This is going to be a first win, and it's going to be a great feeling for somebody here in just a few more laps.
How long did it take you to come down from the excitement of winning that first Daytona?
I'm still overjoyed every time I come here. I mean, it's just such a great feeling to be among the elite Supercross racers by notching this win here at Daytona. Never had a chance to ride lights here, but winning that Supercross class was really something special, and I'm sure it's going to be for one of these guys here tonight too.
Looks like one of the Alessi's trying to move his way up, about 5 riders back.
Yeah, that's actually Jeff Alessi up in the 4th position right now.
Mike Alessi off to a better start than in his heat race. He sits at 6th as we continue to watch the battle for the lead. And that time, Townley went through that very deep rut, and it's going to cost him. Look at Hahn come right alongside on the Honda. And side-by-side racing is going to be really tricky here tonight, Jeff, because somebody's getting forced into a rut they don't want to be in.
Yeah, this is true, and so it's great to see these guys racing clean and giving each other a little bit of room to move here, and still too early in the race to, you know, make that crucial block pass or, you know, a move that could possibly take each rider down if they don't perform it properly.
One thing to think about with the ruts, too, the deeper they get, the more you run the risk of dragging a peg, which can take you down.
Yeah, that you do. And you're really going to have to pay attention to where the ruts are and not follow a guy through a rut that you think that he's having a little bit of problems with.
Maybe the safest spot on the racetrack tonight in midair over a big triple. We're coming right back to Daytona for more of the Supercross Lights main event after these words. Daytona, the Alessi brothers having a pretty good run tonight. Jeff up into 3rd and Mike running in 4th. They're 2 riders who struggle in the opening 2 rounds of the season.
Yeah, they definitely struggled after Jeff Alessi started the season out being the fastest qualifier and really didn't put together the main that he wanted. And Mike definitely didn't put together the main that he wanted, but I guess in this situation, their father, who is a very prominent member of the overall Alessi race team, you know, when he's standing there, he can cheer for both guys in one shot.
They ride for the KTM Red Bull team, and Jeff really stretching it out there.
Yeah, big mistake there. He just did not get the traction for that triple and had to stretch it out and try to get that front wheel over the top of the jump. Not case it out, not losing momentum. See him looking back right now with his brother. And he basically just pulled over right there and let Mike by. He just pulled to the side, realized that he was there. It's an interesting scenario there. I'm not quite sure how to explain that. Other than that, Mike.
Family orders, maybe?
Well, maybe family orders, but hey, you know, if Mike maybe had a little faster lap time, let him go, follow some lines. But he's got Billy Laninovich on the Honda right there behind him, pressuring them both.
Mike actually has turned a quicker lap time tonight. He's got a 1:14.6, and Jeff has a 1:15.5. Maybe Jeff was feeling that he was riding over his head a little bit there.
Yeah, and you know, outside of Townley being in 1st and Lange being in 6th, you got Hahn, Alessi, or Mike Alessi, Jeff Alessi, and Billy Laninovich, who are trying to really make something out of this season. They had a bad start in the first 2 races, not the finishes they were looking for, so now they're right up there in the top 5.
And Mike Alessi and Billy Laninovich were 2 guys that were expected to challenge for this championship.
Well, that they were, and I think there's some bad blood between these guys that goes way back to the amateur days even.
Jeff Alessi giving Billy Laninovich a battle as they fight over 4th.
Yeah, Alessi, or Jeff Alessi here just looks like he's kind of Just trying to be patient, not really pushing too hard, maybe trying not to make any mistakes. First time here to Daytona.
We're probably going to see a change in the points because the points leaders, Morris sits in 7th and Gerke is buried back in 15th. So things are going to get shaken up, and Townley on his way to maybe a second win in 2 weeks in a row.
Looking at Billy Laninovich here, number 50. Definitely considered a title contender, 6th season in the lights class earlier this year. He just has had some main events that he was not happy with. He has to be happy with this one so far. I spoke with him earlier. I said, what's the deal? He said, man, I just need to loosen up a little bit. Made some changes, you know, going over talking to his mechanic and what's going on with Billy here. And just says, man, I need to get a start and just get my confidence up. And so far, he's doing that tonight.
There you see the 105 of Darcy Lange.
You know, when we talk about confidence, Lange here came off the Arena Cross Championship and has had just an abundance of confidence in himself and in the bike, the team.
This is the onboard with Lange.
Go 2, gonna do another double and triple out here. Confidence, what I'm talking about when I talk about confidence is in those little sections maybe where you either have to hold the throttle on or you have to back off, where you believe in yourself and your equipment and the line choice to hammer that throttle and keep it on. Or maybe it's a triple jump where maybe you're not in the groove that you want and it's got a big bump in it. So you say, okay, I believe in myself that I can take this line. It's maybe not the right line that I wanted, and I can make something out of it. So that's, you know, believing in yourself that you've done the right amount of training, the proper conditioning and testing on the bike to win this thing.
Darcy working on Alessi here. And one of the things I think, Jeff, that's so tough about a night like this one.
Great
shot. You can hear him working through the woods, couldn't you? As you get so close to the guy in front of you in one of these really slow corners like this, the temptation to get on the throttle just a little bit sooner, a little bit harder, as you see him within striking distance is so tempting, but it can really mess you up.
You can see him, he's going to cut to the right here. Try to stay a little lower over that double, and now he's going to jump this in a different sequence. No, pulled off the pass though there just by squaring him up and cutting back down to the inside, carrying a little more momentum through that far turn.
Especially in sections like that, working your way through those big ruts. And there's Morris on the 116. Morris right now listed in 7th. And again, the rider he was tied for the points lead with, Gerke, his teammate, is back in 12th.
Well, Morris has put in some great rides this season, and typically so far we haven't seen him right here until the end of the main events, and he's been able to ride up into a 4th and a 2nd place.
That pass on Alessi moves him up to 6th.
And you can just see how these riders are making mistakes. Little ones here and there, and line choice, because the track is changing so much, is so crucial, and to keep an eye out. Even if you take one line, one lap, you actually have to be looking off to the side and saying, okay, there's a new line forming, and you have to be conscious of that as you're taking a different line. So that's why Daytona is such a difficult event.
And we are past the halfway point on a very physically demanding racetrack. So if you're going to have conditioning issues, now's when it's going to start to show.
No, there's no doubt that you have to be strong and physically fit for this event. And I mean, because the bike takes so many, changes and kicks out here and there, you have to be strong to control that thing and hold it straight, just like we see Morris doing right there.
Five laps left to go here at Daytona International Speedway. We'll be right back for the finish. The Supercross Lights East Coast Series here on Speed.
Sunday is race day, NASCAR race day.
Welcome back to Daytona. The battle continuing up towards the front of the field with 4 to go. This is Darcy Lange and Ryan Morris, 2 riders in the thick of the points chase, separated by only a few points in the point standings. Well, they're battling over 5th right now.
Yeah, I'm sure these guys are conscious of that. They know what's going on with the points. Both these guys have had to ride from way behind up to the position with Lange in 5th, Morris in 6th, so they know how valuable this is, and I'm sure the mechanics are, as they come through this area here, they're getting the pit boards, telling them what's going on, where they're at, and who's behind them, who's in front of them. It's really important to keep your head down and focus on not making mistakes and riding in front of you. Although when you see Morris there sneaking up the inside, Lange is conscious of that. He knows Morris is putting in a good ride, and man, this kid has been awesome this year.
Darcy Lange, not supposed to be riding the Supercross season, but he won that Arena Cross Championship, and Mitch Payton, the Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki team, called him up and said, hey, let me give you a shot here, and he is taking full advantage of it.
Well, and now at a time like this, he's had a pretty tough night, actually, but he knows these guys can go away. He can very easily go away with the points lead here, or being very close, seeing how the points leader is one position behind him.
Last week in St. Louis at the Edward Jones Dome, he was one straightaway and one corner away from maybe his first lights win. And it was just total commitment as he raced side by side through a rhythm section with his teammate Ben Townley, and he just ran out of racetrack and yard sailed it at the far end of the straightaway, but he almost pulled it off.
Yeah, it was a pretty impressive ride by Lance Lau. Here comes on the inside.
That move. Morris will get around Lange.
He definitely's got this. We'll see if Lange will switch it up. He'll stay right in that line there. I mean, this is an awesome charge by Morris. I mean, he has really come on strong this season.
And that's what championships are made of.
Well, always riding forward.
Yep, and minimizing the damage that can happen. We've seen that so many times with Ricky Carmichael. On a night like this, Morris being patient, working his way through the field. He sits in 5th now, and the guy he was tied with is buried back in 12th. Ben Townley, meanwhile.
Whoa!
Wrong, but that could have been a problem there, Jeff.
A bit of a wild ride. He caught one of those little sand ruts there before the finish line. Actually hit the finish line jump sitting down. Fortunately, he pulled that off. And a couple laps ago, we seen his mechanic hold out the pit board. He said flow on it. I think he had a little bit of luck going there also.
Well, he had a little luck needed earlier, too. Watch this. We said midair was probably the safest point. Not here.
Who's this guy in the red shirt and the white pants? Somebody's not conscious that there's a race going on. Unfortunately, he hopped right over him.
That could have been disastrous for that corner work. And I'm sure Townley will be talking about that when this one is over in 2 laps.
Well, I think that win last week for Townley has done so much for his confidence, and you know he's been very patient today. And you know, earlier that first race of the season, he was fast, but he wasn't patient, and he wasn't worried about setting the fast qualifying time, which Ryan Dungey did. He's not in our main event. He was getting himself comfortable and finding the flow here at Daytona. With a little less than 2 laps to go, looking like he's going to be able to check the Daytona win off of his dream list too.
1 lap to go. Townley, the former world outdoor lights champion. They call it Motocross 2 for the World Championship.
This is such a challenging track here, and for him to come out and be patient. Oh, and he almost makes another mistake right there coming out of the mechanics area. It was a pretty wide shot. I'm not sure if we got it, but needs to keep this thing on 2 wheels and limit the mistakes here. Hahn in second. The 52, he's had a great ride here tonight. Just what the doctor ordered for a ailing of a bad season. Get back on that podium.
Townley on his way to becoming the 4th non-American to win the Daytona Supercross Lights class. And he's celebrating. Just a week ago, he won his first lights race of the season, and now he's about to go back-to-back.
Well, there's no doubt the winner of Daytona, he's the most physically fit guy, and he's got the flow. Townley here had a great race tonight, put in 15 great laps.
And he came into the race 6th in the points, and he's going to jump up there as well. Ben Townley wins the Supercross Lights East Coast race here at Daytona.
That is a great feeling right there, hand in the air. Victorious at Daytona.
And the class upside down in the points once again. Here comes a 116 across the line for Morris. He'll finish 5th. Darcy Lange comes across in 6th. And Michael Alessi with his best run of the year, a 3rd. The Alessi's always run good at the outdoor stuff, Jeff, and this one much more like an outdoor race. Might have run in his favor.
Well, I think the Red Bull KTMs are suited for that, but I'll tell you what's suited for this right here tonight was that Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki of Ben Townley. Man, this is a fantastic ride. Look at the fans just loving it. That is such an awesome feeling, Ralph, to ride down the side there and slap every one of those hands of the fans. It really makes you feel good.
You want to talk about dominant performances, too. This is the 85th time the Monster Pro Circuit team of Mitch Payton have won a Supercross Lights race. That's impressive.
Oh, yeah, it is. And it's a great feeling. Look at all the fans here packed into Daytona for the Supercross.
It is a huge event. You can see all the fans in the main grandstand here in the Tri-Oval. Here's a look at the results. Some of those in the points chase, keeping themselves alive. Others, like Ryan Dungey, not even in the main tonight, will take a big hit. But Ben Townley making a huge statement. 2 wins in 2 weeks, climbing up in the points, going to make a run at this championship.
Definitely a nice way to recover after that 22nd, which was the last place finish at the opening round. Rebounded with 2 wins. That's a good way to get yourself right back in it.
Well, let's head downstairs. Aaron Bates, who's with our winner.
Well, I think he's pretty much overwhelmed, to say the least. A very emotional Ben Townley. Ben, 2 weeks in a row. How much easier was it coming in this weekend than last?
Well, I don't know if it was easy coming to this one. I just want to focus on race by race, and we did a lot of practice during the week, and I was able to come away with a win. You know, I've got to thank the whole Pro Circuit Monster Energy Kawasaki team. They're awesome. They've been behind me the whole time, and I can't thank them enough. My dad's here again, and this is awesome, man. To win Daytona is cool.
Now, tonight's race, would you say it dictated who's been doing their conditioning and who hasn't?
Well, it was definitely a tough one, you know. Like, I've never raced here, obviously, but, you know, I made a lot of mistakes myself out there near the end of the race, and I was just happy to get it finished. But I got a real good start from outside. You know, the heat race wasn't too good. I went down the start, and I just picked my way through. But by the end, I was back into qualifying, and yeah, this is awesome. This is one for the books for sure.
Ben Townley making it 2 in a row.
Got to make sure the goggles are on and you show the energy drink. We're coming back. Main event for the Supercross class is still to be run here at Daytona.
The Ben Spies Matt Mladen rematch. Spies won the AMA Superbike Championship last year, took it away from Mladen. It's quite a rivalry, and it renews tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the morning, 8 Pacific time. That is the season opener for AMA Superbikes right here at Daytona. Let's go back topside and find out who else is in the main event tonight as this big crowd await the features.
Dave, in the Supercross Lights East Coast Series, the big story is who is not going on to the main. Ryan Dungey on that number 62 came to Daytona 3rd in the points and the winner at Atlanta at the season opener, and he misses the main by 1 position. Zach Osborne also in the thick of the points chase, and he doesn't make it into tonight's main. So the trials and tribulations of the Lights class continues this year. Now let's show you what happened in the Supercross LCQ. Watch the second bike here. Paul Carpenter has a transfer spot. Instead, he goes head first to the tough block as they only take 2 out of the Supercross LCQ, and that will be Jacob Marsack on the 73 and Josh Summey in the 36. They're going on to the main, Dave.
I appreciate that, Ralph. As we prepare for tonight's Supercross main event, I want to take you back. Here are the riders advancing into the feature. I want to take you back to the Saturday night race at the Atlanta Supercross. The battling there was as ferocious as you would expect for a Supercross race, but on Sunday morning, a group of Supercross stars were out fighting a different kind of battle, the fight against ataxia telangiectasia, AT, genetic disease affecting about 600 American children every year.
I've got a daughter. She's 12 now, and she's in a wheelchair. Her name is Savannah. Just looking at her every day, I want to do everything I can. She handles it much better than I do, really, and she handles it much better than all of us. You know, I think she looks at her dad at maybe, you know, helping out one day, and I hope I don't let her down.
As big of a sport it is, it's a real close-knit group. We rally together and try to help friends that are in need and people that are less fortunate as us. And I think it's a great cause. We're earning a lot of money these days, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
It lets me know there's some good in the world. You know what I mean? We're all into moto, we're all into this and that, but at the end of the day, it's all about family and friends. You know, if you can't depend on your friends to step up, then who will?
I contacted Kevin Kelly with Bremen Race Park 4 years ago and told him I'd like to put together a little fundraiser and just to send money to the AT Children's Project because of what they've done for us. They established the AT clinic at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland that we go to that evaluates Savannah, and they've seen about 300 kids now.
This is the practice gear that Ricky Carmichael wore yesterday. 2,500 straight to charity. 2,500.
You got a chance right here to do it honest. Right here, it's for a good cause. It's for AT. We're for 250, right? Let's blow it out. We got a lot of stuff going to go. There's 350 right there.
The best thing about this sport is, you know, whether it's somebody we may not even know, but they're injured or they have a sickness, they have a disease that's going on in their lives that affects them. We understand that because of the injury factor and everything that we go on in the sport, and so we want to give and try to make it better for them because it is a pain.
Just because we know we're lucky to be in the situation we're in, and we're thankful for that, and that maybe we can help someone else with what we have and what we do.
A bunch of kids that, you know, were born with this disease that, you know, don't really have anybody else to fight for them but a select few, and we're one of the ones. We try to raise money every year, and we try to get as many people out here. We want to try to make this an event that happens every year and as big as we can.
Seeing you know, more and more research been done because of events like this is what keeps me motivated to keep coming back doing it again and again.
You know, Ride for AT is something special, and you have to make time and prioritize.
With Savannah looking on, that event raised in excess of $50,000 for the fight against AT. Nice work by all concerned. We'll take a break and be back to Daytona.
What do you...
There's your Daytona crowd awaiting the start of the main event here this evening, the 37th running of a race that dates back to 1971. Trivia buffs, who won the first one? Actually, there were two. It used to be an AMA National, an outdoor race, if you will. Brian Kenny and Gunnar Lindstrom were the first two winners 37 years ago. Neither of you two guys were born yet, right? Ralph, Jeff?
I wish I could say that, Dave. I don't know about my colleague over here. Were you alive in 71?
I was just a baby, yes.
Just a baby. Well, you know, a lot of things have changed since then when it comes to the motorcycles that will allow these riders to attack what is arguably the most treacherous racetrack on the AMA Supercross Trail here at Daytona.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And over the years, the evolution of the bike, we're taking a look here at Tim Ferry's KX450 four-stroke engine here, and the biggest difference is the stiffness and the dampening in the suspension and the stiffness of the chassis. The attitude of the bike is a little lower in the back, a little higher in the front. You can see these guys here back in the 70s, they were sitting back on the seat and they got the arms stretched out as they hit these jumps, and got the front wheel pops up, and you know, then we came to the 80s and they, you know, the suspension, the single shock, linkage, all this came about, started moving the riding position up a little further. Then we got to the 90s where we finally have the head and shoulders up over the bars. And you can see Stanton here going through some of these Daytona sand whoops and really leaning over the front of the bike. And here, there is nobody that leans over the front of the bike and carries more speed through the whoops than James Stewart. And this is just the next evolution of Supercross.
And all of that allows James Stewart to absolutely attack this racetrack. Main events are coming up from the biggest race of the year, the Daytona Supercross, after this on Speed. For the Supercross class, Daytona Supercross by Honda. They run a lot of big races at this big speedway, but there is a real exciting vibe that flows through the crowd as they get ready for the main event for the Supercross class. And it is a beautiful evening here tonight, and a large part of that goes to the folks at Musco. They've done an outstanding job of lighting up the tri-oval here so we can put on this big Supercross race. You can see the light stands on the inside as well as the lights that are used on the outside of the racetrack when they run all the four-wheel races here, and it really does an outstanding job of lighting this amazing facility. Let's show you the starting grid for our main event. And it's got all kinds of potential with James Stewart, Chad Reed, Ivan Tedesco, Tim Ferry, all the right names, Jeff, in the main event, and a very treacherous racetrack awaiting them.
Well, the course tonight, that Lights main event just ate it up, and so we're going to see who's the smartest, who's going to get the flow tonight. But man, I tell you what, if Carmichael jumps out front, these fans are going to be cheering him on. Not that the other riders don't have fans, but this being his last Daytona is going to be a key race.
Well, and if we see those top riders battling bar to bar, it could be the type of night where they get taken out and somebody slides through to get their first win here at Daytona. Well, for James Stewart, this will be his 32nd start in the Supercross class. And take a look at this, how some of the biggest names in the sport have done in their first 32 races. Jeremy McGrath, the best when it comes to getting the wins and getting to the podium, well, that would be Chad Reed. And James Stewart, if he gets a win here tonight, he'll tie Chad Reed for his 18th win. But take a look at what happens the next 32 races. This really gets interesting. Ricky Carmichael, 25 wins, 28 podiums. Only McGrath and Reed were able to make 32 consecutive starts. Here's Aaron Bates with the Progressive Direct pre-race report.
Well, guys, this is it. Daytona Supercross, known as the toughest and roughest Supercross on the entire Supercross circuit. They brought in over 3,500 tons of sand and different kinds of dirt to build this track on the infield of the Speedway Tri-Oval. But tonight is like no other because they've actually built an outdoor motocross track in a Supercross format. It's going to bring challenges to these guys unlike anything else. But one thing for sure, they've got their work cut out for them because every single lap is starting to be more and more challenging as it's changing every time.
That it is. And Jeff, if you were sitting in that gate right now, knowing what you know about this racetrack and what you saw with the Lights class main, what would you be thinking?
I'm thinking get the whole shot. There's no doubt getting out front, staying out of this sand, the roost in your face, being able to pick your own lines through the ruts is going to be the most important thing.
We saw Ricky Carmichael get a terrible start in his heat. How does he bounce back from that?
He gets the whole shot. There is no better cure for having a bad day than whole shot in the main event.
Chad Reed needs a win to really keep himself alive in the points. There he is in the green, white, and yellow riding gear right alongside Ivan Tedesco, who did get a good start in his heat.
Yeah, he's definitely a great starter, but I'll tell you what, I think these guys are lined up a little too far to the inside, and we've seen a couple times those tough blocks come into play. If guys start banging bars, they're coming down the start straight.
The 32nd board is sideways, a Daytona Supercross by Honda. Here we go. Looks like the whole shot's going to come from the center this time. Everybody gets through that first corner smoothly.
Well, I know we got James Stewart in second there.
It was Kyle Lewis getting the whole shot, but Stewart already goes to the lead.
And I thought Michael Byrne, he was the first guy down the start straight. He shut off and had Stewart on his inside. That allowed Lewis to just sweep by on the outside and get another great start.
Langston is in third on the factory Yamaha. Carmichael buried back inside the top 10.
Look at Stewart, he's gone right now.
Well, that's exactly what he wants to do, isn't it, Jeff? He wants to just check out now. See if he can lower those 109s maybe to a 108.
Well, I know he definitely doesn't want to have Carmichael up there getting him this emotion going that I was talking about earlier, and the crowd to get in it for him or any other rider. He's going to make this, you know, a nice and boring race for himself up front, but I'm sure it's going to heat up for all of us because there's a couple of the main players there tucked back in the pack.
There's Carmichael up to fourth. That's Langston just behind Lewis as they fight over second. And Carmichael knows he cannot waste time. He's got to get around Lewis and pass Langston in a hurry if he wants any chance of having a shot at catching Stewart.
Well, I think he's going to make short work of these guys, just like he's getting on the inside of Lewis right here, soaking up that double. It was a nice line, so now he's nice and patient here. Look for some lines, and right now he needs Stewart to maybe have a little bobble, lose a couple seconds, pick up that time.
Here comes Ricky through the woods, charging on Langston. Oh, Langston has a little trouble there keeping his foot on the pegs. That allows Carmichael by. He'll go after Kevin Windham now. So Carmichael up to third.
Carmichael's been great here. He's got more wins here than anybody. So, I mean, he has got more experience at knowing how to win this thing, even winning from behind, than any other rider out there.
Well, Travis Preston on the Honda is up and talking to the Astros medical crew after crashing here in the main. No problem so far for Stewart.
You see Stewart right through there, through that section, he was keeping a much tighter line than where the actual racing line was. He's staying out of those square edge holes that develop between the sand and the clay. Sand being the dark dirt, the clay being the lighter dirt.
Here's Tim Ferry now, Stewart's teammate on the green 15. And behind these two, you see Chad Reed. Reed now battling with Langston. Reed's going to go to the inside. He'll get around Langston.
Nice line there. You see even the big four. Ooh, Reed misses a shift there coming out of the whoop section. Loses all the forward momentum and all the drive. Fortunately, only lost a little bit of time. Not any go off the track or lay it down. Interesting battle though here, Ralph, with Tim Ferry and Chad Reed. Ferry, week after week, keeps getting a little better and inching closer to Chad Reed even. He has been improving. And earlier today in the qualifying practice, he was on the same second as Chad Reed was. So definitely, you know, Team Kawasaki is giving him the confidence that he can go out there and run with a former Supercross champion.
Well, they both turned their best time so far in the last lap. A 1:13.6 for Ferry, a 1:13.8 for Reed. So you're right, they are definitely running at the same pace. Now here comes Carmichael. He has caught Kevin Windham.
And you can see how them ruts are forming. Well, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ruts there before this whoop section. Carmichael goes outside, gets the drive,
and takes the corner away.
Yeah, he definitely, Windham was being pretty nice. He could have made it ugly by really driving it in on Carmichael, but he's got a lot of respect for him there and just said, okay, you got the pass.
You can see the crowd over their shoulders cheering as Carmichael puts himself up into second now. He is about 5 seconds behind James Stewart. Stewart has clipped off a 1:10.9, Carmichael a 1:10.4. So Carmichael is able to run the pace of James Stewart in the early stages here. We're only a quarter of the way through the 20-lap main event. That is the Daytona Supercross by Honda. We're coming back for more here on Speed. As we rejoin the action in the main event at the Daytona Supercross by Honda. He has lowered his best time to a 1:09.9, but things have not been perfect for James Stewart. Watch what happens just seconds ago.
Comes out of this rut, goes the double off of this, tucks the front end, and look how close he comes to the tough block, and then cuts across the deep groove, keeps it on 2 wheels. That could have been a really bad mistake.
He basically crashed without falling off the motorcycle.
And we're in the same section right there. He chose a different line that time. He stayed a little wider.
And that has been the challenge of James Stewart as he works around Jason Thomas. Just last year, Jeff, he had a big lead like this. Right now, he is 7 seconds in front of Carmichael. There's Ricky on the 4. And he crashed violently, got in, back on his motorcycle, but instead of winning, handed the victory to Carmichael, his 5th. I asked James earlier today, do you have some unfinished business here? He said, no, I'm more worried about the championship. But it is Daytona, Jeff. He's got to want to win this.
Oh, he does. He's putting in a pretty good ride here. He's made some mistakes, but everybody makes mistakes at Daytona. When I won in '97, I'm sure there were 3 or 4 times that I had my feet off the pegs, and that's just part of it here. The track is so grueling, so challenging. It's changing all the time. You have to switch up your lines maybe 2 or 3 times even throughout the main event.
Well, if we're able to see James come through this night and limit the amount of those mistakes and get the victory, we will have seen James Stewart take another step towards his rise up through the list of the great names of Supercross.
Well, he definitely is on his way right now. So has to limit the mistakes here. He looks like he's choosing some pretty good lines.
Now, this is that same section where he made the mistake the last time. No problems this lap.
Yeah, he dialed it in. Right now, his gap over Carmichael is 8.7 seconds, and I think he's pulling about a second a lap on him here, so he just needs to be patient, not make any mistakes. And I'm telling you, I noticed these riders sitting here watching them, they're really patient through the turns because they know that each straightaway presents a new challenge. So,
well, any one of these huge ruts, watch Carmichael through this section here, and watch how the bike just disappears into those holes.
Well, Ricky's got his leg out there. He's got his right leg up so high that his knee is hitting the bottom of the handlebars, but yet his heel is digging into the sand.
The endurance and physical stamina these riders have just to survive one lap of this racetrack. Hunting around is one thing. To do it at the pace that a James Stewart and a Ricky Carmichael are running here tonight, just incredible.
Well, we're on lap 9 of 20 here. We got a half of the race to go still, and everything's kind of mellowed out a little bit. But like we said, that Daytona's about finishing off the second half of the race and not making those mistakes. So we'll see if both of our leaders here can do that.
Well, they are matching their lap time. Stewart ran a 1:10.3, Carmichael a 1:10.2 on the last lap.
Now what's going to come into play here, Ralph, is we're going to catch a lot of lappers here in the last part of the race. Lappers are getting tired. They get in the way. They make mistakes, possibly come over into you, causing you to make a mistake. So this race is far from being over.
Or forcing you into a rut you don't want to be in. Kevin Windham has his hands full with Chad Reed. Windham on the number 14 Sobe Samsung Honda.
Windham is putting together some great rides here. This season did not start well for him at all, but he's really picked it up like a true champion. He's one of our sport's greatest racers right now, and he's digging deep, working hard, getting the bike working better, and getting himself feeling better, and consequently now he's up here racing for a podium position. At the beginning of the season, he was far from that.
And Chad Reed knows he can't afford 4th place points tonight. And Stewart's going to go on to a win.
Well, we keep saying it week after week. It's about winning races for Reed, trying to take some points back, but right now he's just a little bit too far back for that to be considered.
Into the whoops, and look at Reed charging in, chasing down Windham. We'll be right back to Daytona for more of the main event.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the World Center of Racing, the Daytona International Speedway. The main event for the AMA Supercross Series is being led by James Stewart. But one of the better battles on the racetrack is this one between Grant Langston on the number 8 Yamaha and Ivan Tedesco on the Makita Suzuki. They're fighting over 7th position. Tedesco on the yellow number 9, flying through the air, trying to take the spot away from Langston, and he's got it.
Got to give a little credit to the 36 back there, Josh Zumby, put excuse me, a great ride, sitting at 9th here, all over the factory guys.
And Josh just squeaked into the main. Last spot in the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's better to make the main here and have to go through these 20 laps or just take the, take the third.
Relax, huh?
This is a very grueling 20 laps, and especially when you don't have the flow and you just seem to hit every bump and every rut out there is wrong. And not saying these guys are, but I've had some days here at Daytona where, man, that 20 laps seemed like it was 2 days.
Zumby giving Langston all he can handle here. Langston gets through the whoops better, though.
Notice these ruts there on the inside of that turn. They're cutting across each other. You know, 4 or 5 of them in the turns. This track is so grueling at this point in the race. And Langston, being his first race back here after getting injured a week after the opening round of the AMA Championship at Anaheim, I'm sure he's got a little bit of arm pump going on right now, and maybe not quite as fit as he'd like to be, but he's going to have to work himself into it. No better way to get fit than start here at Daytona.
They might get lapped by James Stewart, who is done a remarkable job so far tonight, avoiding all the pitfalls that this track is putting up and trying to take you down. But he did have one other close call just moments ago.
See Stewart coming in here to this left-hander.
Oh,
that could have been real bad. And the reason that happens because the turn is sand, the jump is clay. Makes this huge square edge. Once you go from the transition to that, see right there, that's one of the same sections. Got through there cleanly, but I'm not sure maybe Stewart had speed on earlier because he seems to be riding this main event just like in my keys that I mentioned earlier of getting that start and being patient, using his head, all of that. He's doing it by the book.
Getting around Langston means he is lapped up to 8th. On a track like this, Jeff, he is lapped up to 8th. Just phenomenal.
Well, one thing about Daytona is you do run into a lot of lappers, and I talk about flow and being comfortable on the bike and everything being set up. It looks like Kawasaki team and James got this thing set up. He said he was going to change the tires possibly for the main event, and that's why he's out front. The guys in the back, they're hating it. I mean, they, set up, not hitting the right lines. I talk about just hitting every bump out there. Stewart's just floating like a butterfly right now.
The gap between Stewart and Carmichael, 10 seconds. And he goes around Ivan Tedesco, Carmichael's teammate. That means he's lapped up to 7th. Here's Ricky working on Carpenter.
Well, Carmichael's putting in a great ride tonight. We talked earlier also about track position off of the start, and that was what it was going to take to win this event. He's pretty much matching James Stewart lap time for lap time, but starting out of the top 5 has made it tough to get up there close to him.
Well, as we said, Stewart is 10 seconds behind Carmichael. Reed is 30 seconds behind Ricky Carmichael.
And he's got 1 foot out the door to retirement.
Yes.
It's truly amazing Carmichael's drive and determination just to keep it going. Even though he's only got a couple of Supercross races, he only knows one way to do it, and that's the right way.
He has 1 race and 5 laps left in his Supercross career, Ricky Carmichael. That final race will be next week in Orlando. You will see that here on Speed. And when we come back, we will see if James Stewart can add a Daytona Supercross win to what's shaping up to be an amazing career. Away here at Daytona Supercross by Honda. It has been everything that we expected it to be. A treacherous racetrack, and James Stewart is doing a great job of minimizing the potential dangers of it. With 4 to go, he's had his fair share of close calls tonight. Let's show you some of those. 3 good ones, any one of which could have taken Stewart down and out of this race.
Take a look at the close calls. Jumps just on the side. The finish line jump right here. Tucks the front wheel, misses the rut and the top block, and right here was the worst one of all. Could have been pretty violent and could have thrown away the potential win here at Daytona.
Last year it was an incident just like that took the win away from Stewart and gave Carmichael his 5th. Tonight, James has done an outstanding job of keeping those close calls to a minimum. He's kept himself out in front in a 9-second lead over Carmichael. He's given up a little time, but he's certainly in a comfortable zone.
Yeah, but Stewart's fastest lap time was a 1:09. His last lap was a 1:14. That just goes to show you how much the track changes and how much it deteriorates. It is so challenging. Extremely physically fit, strong, a lot of endurance in the muscles. He's put in many a laps on his Supercross track, dreaming of this day to win Daytona. 3 more laps to go. He's pretty far, you know, he's on his way.
Coming up on Jason Thomas on the number 31.
And we even talked about, or we heard our lights winner, Townley, talk about, man, I made so many mistakes out there, but he still won the race. And that is, you know, so much a part of Daytona is minimizing the mistakes. Everyone's going to make them, but no big ones.
Jeff, we had 20 riders lined up in the gate tonight. Obviously, 20 of the best riders in the world when it comes to competing in Supercross. And when you're out there on a track like Daytona, giving it your all, riding on the edge, going as fast as you can, and a guy like Stewart comes by you like you're standing still, how disheartening is that after a tough night like this?
Well, I think a lot of these riders, they're prepared for it. They've raced with him for a few years, and they realize, you know, that these lead guys, like we're watching here at Carmichael, that, you know, they are the best of the best, and so they, you know, they're going to try to follow some lines and pick up on it, but you know, it definitely, like you said, it's disheartening when you're out there getting beat around and this guy comes flying past you like you're standing still.
Here's a 3-way fight for 7. Davey Millsaps is in here on the 118. Grant Langston on the 8. And it should be David Filament on the 12.
Wow, see the power there. Langston's bike, he was on the inside. I wasn't even sure that he was going to jump that.
He gets around Millsaps on the 118 in the brown riding gear.
Here, I'm not sure he's going to jump the triple. I think he makes a mistake in the turn. He ends up doing that and making a pass for position.
James Stewart, he's changed this game, hasn't he?
He definitely has, and he just sees the track differently than other riders. And see him doing a one-hander there over the triple in front of the Daytona fans. And I know that Carmichael has a lot of respect for James Stewart and the fact that he came in and changed the game, brought all this forward body positioning, all this momentum over the triples and doing the scrubs. I think that when Carmichael won the championship last year, I think he was very proud of himself for being able to adapt to a new generation, at least for 1 year. And now this year, it's all about number 7, James Stewart. He is definitely on a roll.
And he continues to win legions of fans, as you can hear him cheering in the background here at Daytona. James Stewart on his way to his 18th AMA Supercross win, his first here at Daytona. It will be Kawasaki's 8th win here at Daytona, their 84th Supercross win. It will be the first time Kawasaki has swept the event here at Daytona. Only Honda and Yamaha had done that coming into the night. But James Stewart has done it. The unfinished business of Daytona is in the history books for James Stewart. Number 7 joins the list of famous names that include this man, Ricky Carmichael, as winners here at Daytona. Ricky Carmichael closes out a tremendous career of Supercross competition here at Daytona with a 2nd place finish. And James Stewart, whose impressive career is just beginning, takes another step towards really big, huge levels of stardom in this series by adding a Daytona victory and possibly another championship or 2 before the season is over. Chad Reed, 3rd here tonight, keeps the points chase alive, but it's getting thinner. Ricky Carmichael congratulating James Stewart on a big, big win. We'll talk to James when we come back to Daytona.
We're here at my buddy Ellie.
Won the Daytona Supercross. Let's head down to Aaron Bates, who's with our winner.
James Stewart celebrating his very first Supercross victory here in Daytona. James, what does this mean to you to put this one under your belt?
I mean, after struggling all day and coming out getting the victory, like I said, the boys, they helped me out always, and you know, I was a little worried. You know, I got my tail handed to me in practice, and I didn't feel good. I got whooped so bad I went in the motorhome and went to sleep. I thought it was a dream or something, but you know, to be able to put my head and come back, you know, I'm just happy for the guys at Kawasaki. You know, it's been a good weekend so far.
Close encounter out there once again with the tough blocks. Were you concerned at all?
You know, a little bit. You know, it's just kind of, you know, they get knocked out the track and they get put on, and I saved it though. You know, I had one bobble on the on and off, but besides that, it was all good.
Congratulations, James Stewart, looking good as always.
Let's take a look at the results. And Jeff, a quick nap in the motorhome might just be what James Stewart needs to do every week.
Well, he was phenomenal tonight. Got that start, went out and just set down the fastest lap times, minimized the mistakes, kept it on 2 wheels, really proved that he is the next guy in line to be Supercross champion.
First race back, Grant Langston finishes with a 7th, and we saw Tim Ferry with another good night, again showing that he's increasing his speed.
Well, this track was brutal for everybody, even our winners, so great rides for those guys being inside the top 10.
The only rider who could match his lap times, those of James Stewart, was Ricky Carmichael. He's second tonight, and he's with Aaron.
Ricky Carmichael wanted this win tonight, but it wasn't the end of the world for him. Ricky, you had even made yourself a replica track at home to simulate this one. It didn't quite work out as planned, though, tonight.
No, it didn't, but, you know, I'm out of here safe, and the thing that I was proud about is I rode a lot better in the main than I did all night. So to me, it was a mission accomplished to pull myself out of a hole. I mean, man, I had to dig deep. That was the longest long time I had to dig deep. It's I've been on a good roll for a while, and it didn't go the way I wanted to, but I'm proud. I kept him honest and kept him on his toes.
Bad start for you once again tonight. What's been going on? You've been struggling a little bit with those.
I don't know, man. Just not a good starter anymore, and that used to be one of my strong points. But start or not, you know, he rode great, and it would have been tough. I would like to get out there and seen his lines, but hey, you know, I didn't hold up my end of the bargain on the start. So I got to thank Suzuki. The bike was great. They worked hard to get me comfortable for that main event, so thank you very much.
Now, one race left before your Supercross retirement, heading into Orlando next weekend. Is this an emotional experience for you?
Yeah, it's going to be emotional. It's going to be hard to stay focused. There's no doubt. You know, it is the end of the road for Supercross for me, and it's been a great journey. And you know, we want to get out of there safe and have some babies after that.
Something tells me, even though we got second place tonight, the celebration is on.
Let's take a look at the point standings. After 10 of the 16 rounds in the AMA series, James Stewart increases it to 24 now over Chad Reed. Chad was third tonight, keeps himself fairly alive. He's with Aaron.
The look of disappointment on Chad Reed's face says it all. Chad, a rough night to you, especially after such a flawless day you had.
Yeah, man, I had 2 great practices, and just in the night program, something was missing, and you know, not a lot I could do about it. You know, especially when I got a good, bad start like that. But man, no excuses. I fought to the end and just wanted to get on the podium, and bike was awesome. All the guys at Yamaha Unbound, you know, all the guys at Thor Parts, Sam Manuel, and all the guys at L&M. You know, they did a great job, and it was a bummer. You know, I really wanted to get out there and fight, but man, something went wrong in between practice and the race. So.
Chad James has extended his points lead once again. Is a championship hope slipping away, or do you still have hope?
You know, at this point, I'm not even worried about the title. I just want to ride good, and it's not happening at this point. So, you know, there's just a couple of little things that are missing, and we got to work on it.
Regroup. We'll see you again next weekend.
Jeff, I have to say, I think we need to consider the fact that James Stewart could become the first person to win this race 6 times.
Yeah, well, he is the next evolution of Supercross, and he's showing that. Carmichael was the old, he's the new.
Dave, definitely a changing of the guard here at Daytona tonight.
It'll be interesting to see how many he can win at Daytona, how many championships are in this young man's future, and what else lies ahead for James Stewart. I can tell you what lies ahead for us. Tomorrow morning, bright and early, we'll be back, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. AMA Superbike season opener, and then dirt track from Memorial Stadium. We'll wrap up our broadcast marathon with the 66th running of the Daytona 200. Our congratulations to James Stewart. Thanks, Ralph Shaheen, Jeff Emig, and Aaron Bates. I'm Dave Despain. Thank you all for being here.
You're on your game right now. A couple wins under your belt would be